We're going to call this meeting to order. And Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Howell. Senator Webb. Representative Herron. Representative Petrie.
Here.
Representative Thomas.
Present.
Co-Chair Gordon.
Here.
Chair Girdler.
Here. We've got enough for a fight. So we'll get started. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Representative Walker Thomas or Thomas Walker. He should be Thomas Walker, shouldn't he?
I know.
And Representative Fraser Gordon second. Any member object? We're going to have Miss Jenny report the information items.
Okay, the information items for the March meeting pursuant to KRS 45.760 subsection 5, the University of Kentucky reported the purchase of an MRI system for use by UK Healthcare, King's Daughters Medical Center, totaling $606,247.48 in restricted funds. Pursuant to KRS 45.812 subsection 1, 5 school districts, none of which needed an additional tax levy to pay debt service, reported upcoming debt issues to finance new projects through their fiscal agents. The districts are Bullitt County, Corbin Independent, Hancock County, McLean County, and Menifee County.
All right. We're going to hear from the Office of Financial Management, and we're going to have Brother Ryan come up. You may proceed, Ryan.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you very much for letting me go earlier in the meeting so I can talk to Moody's here in a little bit. Just 2 projects today to report, Campbell County and Rockcastle County, that have SFCC participation. In aggregate, the SFCC participation is roughly 7%, with local being the balance 93%, estimated par of $59.84 million. Both non-taxable transactions. There's no new tax necessary to finance these projects, and obviously this is a very light calendar. I think it's related to a lot of the market that we've seen, a lot of volatility. Certainly the last 2 weeks have been interesting with the bank failures and the resulting drop in rates. So I think that's representative of the small calendar that we have this month.
All right. We have 2 of these. You want to roll them together?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Can I get a motion to roll these 2 together?
Motion.
Motion by Fraser Gordon.
Second.
Second by Walker Thomas. Any opposed? All agree? All right. I got lost on it there, Brother Ryan.
Sure.
You got both of them? Anybody have any questions? No questions? If you can please, Representative Petrie, we're all in good shape. If there's, then can I get a motion to accept the, roll into one. We did that.
Yeah, motion.
Motion, got a motion, Fraser Gordon, second by,
I'll go ahead and second.
All right. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Howell. Senator Webb. Representative Herron. Representative Petrie.
Yes.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Co-Chair Fraser Gordon.
Yes.
Chair Girdler.
Yes. We just, Senator Howell, what you voted aye on was you going to be the
New chair.
new chair. I'm just telling you what you voted on. All right. We got the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority and
I think Sandy's remote.
Sandy, you're remote.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see you. Do we have anything to roll here? We just got them.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Can I get a motion? We roll these together.
Motion.
Got a motion, Fraser Gordon. Second from Senator Howe. Any opposed? All right. You may proceed, Sandy.
Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Girdler and members of the committee. I'm Sandy Williams, Executive Director with the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. Pursuant to KRS 2248-100, the authority has 6 loans and 84 grants for the committee's review. For consideration for loans, first up is the City of Hardinsburg's Fund A loan in the amount of $1 million, which will finance their wastewater treatment plant collection system improvements project. This project includes new sludge pumps and actuator valves, concrete and pipe rehabilitation, and electrical upgrades at the treatment plant, as well as replacement of approximately 4,000 linear feet of main transmission line to correct inflow and infiltration of stormwater into the sanitary sewer system. This will be a 20-year loan with an interest rate of 1.25% and was approved at the March 2nd KIA board meeting. Next is a Fund B loan for the city of Bardstown. Bardstown's Fund B loan is in the amount of $4,445,000 and will finance their East Bardstown storage tank project. The major component of this project is the construction of a 1.25 million gallon elevated water storage tank in the Nelson County Industrial Park. The new tank will provide resiliency and capacity for the system that serves developed residential areas along with major industrial and commercial customers. This will be a 20-year loan with an interest rate of 2.25% and was approved at the March 2nd KIA board meeting. Next is a Fund B loan for the Garrett County Water Association. Their request is in the amount of $1.4 million, and this funding will finance their water system improvements project. The project includes rehabilitation of existing water lines, replacing a water storage tank, and constructing new water lines, which will provide service to 17 new customers. This will be a 20-year loan with an interest rate of 2.25% and was approved at the March 2nd KIA board meeting. Now we're moving to our Fund F Drinking Water State Revolving Fund program, and Hyde and Leslie County Water District's Fund F loan in the amount of $2,001,013 will finance the Leslie Waterline Replacement Phase 1 project. The project will replace approximately 28,000 linear feet of water line that experiences recurring failures, will replace 2 booster pump stations, rehabilitate 5 additional booster pump stations, and will install 10 new zone master meters. The overall project will ensure residents continue to have a reliable source of water. Because of program requirements, this loan will receive 100% principal forgiveness and was approved at March 2nd KIA board meeting. The City of Lebanon's Fund F loan in the amount of $3,850,060 will finance their water treatment plant and water system improvements project. The project will replace an old galvanized and cast iron water main, as well as upsize a portion of the transmission main from the water treatment plant. The project will also complete the replacement of lead gooseneck connections in the downtown area. Improvements will also be made at the water treatment plant. This will be a 30-year loan with an interest rate of 0.5% and was approved at the March 2nd KIA board meeting. And the final loan of the day is for the City of Scottsville. Their Fund F loan in the amount of $100,000 will finance their lead service line inventory project. The city will conduct an inventory of all the public and private service lines in their water distribution system to identify which lines are made of lead piping. Because of program requirements, this loan will receive 100% principal forgiveness and was approved at the March 2nd KIA board meeting. And that concludes the report for loans.
All right, we'll, anybody have any questions? I got Senator Bledsoe. Frankie Fromeyer. I get you all mixed up.
I won't ask these questions every time. I'm just in the learning mode. Where are these dollars being allocated from with the 2.25, that low interest rate? Are we borrowing money to lend that money out at a low interest rate, or where are these dollars coming from?
Yes, ma'am, that is a very good question. The Kentucky Infrastructure Authority receives and since 1988, KIA has received a capitalization grant from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. So every year we've gotten a CAP grant for clean water or sewer projects since 1988. Since I think 1996, that's when the drinking water cap grant started being received. So KIA receives the seed money from the capitalization grant through US EPA. There is a 20% state match requirement to receive that grant, and the funding for that comes from the general fund. So thank you very much. And then we have, as the loans are made and then repaid, we can recycle or reloan those repayment dollars. So we have three buckets where funding is received for these loans.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
I have one follow-up to that.
All right.
Thank you. I just have a follow-up into that. I've enjoyed the better understanding of where these funds come from. But in regards to the repayment, what fund does that go back into as those repayments are made? Does that stay with KIA or does that go back to the general fund?
That is also a very good question. So yes, ma'am, all of the repayments, as a requirement of the grant agreement that KIA entered into with US EPA, it's a requirement that all of the repayments go back into the fund and that the fund be maintained in perpetuity. So the repayments are made back into the fund to reloan for future projects.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? All right, you may proceed on the clean water program.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Today, there are 84 Cleaner Water Program grant requests before the committee. 3 of the requests are for reallocations from the first round appropriation, 1 sewer project and 2 water projects. There are 5 reallocation requests from the second round appropriation. So each of those first round and second round appropriations total $250 million. And the funding source is the American Rescue Plan Act funds. So there are 5 reallocations from the second round appropriation, 2 sewer projects and 3 water projects. The remaining 76 grants are new and represent the remaining 2022 appropriation. So that second round of $250 million, all of it has been awarded. And I am happy to report that those appropriations are very well received, and we have lots of happy grantees. And Senator Girdler, I will let you know 3 of those projects are in your district. Representative Gordon, 1 project is in your district, and Senator Howe, you also have 1 project in the mix. And I respectfully request the committee's approval of the 84 grants.
All right, thank you. The co-chair has a question.
Did these grants also require the 20% state match?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Okay, thank you.
This is where I depend on our. This is where I depend on our A&R guy here, Representative Petrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sandy, will you help us understand a little better about round 1 and round 2 reallocations, purposes behind those, and the effect of it?
Yes, sir. So that's a really good question also. Both rounds of funding, instead of the state telling the local utilities what we wanted them to do, we asked for their consensus. So for all of the funding that was appropriated to be used within each county, and if you remember, each appropriation had a carve out based on population for each county. So we asked the community leaders within each county, utility managers, mayors, county judge, to come to a consensus as to how they wanted the funds in their county to be used. And then they submitted projects and told us the amount of funding for each project. As time went on, what they found is there were so there are various reasons why there could be a reallocation. It could be there's an emergency project that took precedence, so they needed to move the funding from one project to another. It could be they thought there would be enough funding to do 2 projects, and when bids came in on the first one, they needed to move money from the second project to the first project to make sure it got done. It could be that, change in leadership changed the primary need for projects or needs or wants for projects to be done. So there are various reasons why reallocations we're now seeing those.
So first up, the reasons you've just given would exhaustively cover the 3 sewer projects and the 5 water projects that are being reallocated out of the 2 rounds. There's no other reason. It's a consensus change for the things that you've mentioned. There's nothing else.
Correct. So yes.
Okay.
A consensus change.
and
We
with
do ask for consensus.
Okay, and with and that was what was intended, which is good. With each of the projects on the reallocation, had the projects that were previously a matter of consensus, had they invoked any funds, used any funds whatsoever? Was it just a change early in the process for reallocation with no net negative physical impact?
For the most part, yes. All of the funds would be transferred from one project to another project. It could be the first project was completed and they didn't need all of the funding, and so they reallocated it to a second project. So there are multiple reasons why, but there would be no partial reallocations. They started a project that didn't finish it,
Okay.
and then moved the funding to a different project.
Okay, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
You may.
We have considerable dollar figures and absolute numbers of projects going out yet that have been approved. So do we anticipate reallocations within the new group that's going out? And I know you don't have any better crystal ball than I do, but the real gravamen of the question is this: how many times can reallocation be consented to by the groups? Is there some point in time where KIA goes, we're on a path, we're going to have to stick it?
That is, I wish I had a good answer for that question.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we look at each project request on a case-by-case basis. It would be much easier for the staff at KIA to say, no, once you've reallocated, you can't reallocate again. But I would hate to do that and then miss a good opportunity. So
from an administrative perspective, the reallocations are not a big issue for KIA at this point.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Seeing no further questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve. A motion from Senator Funky Fromeyer. A second from Brother Hal. Thank you. Huh? You're going to have to move up here a little closer. I can't hear that good. I can see you, though. Oh, all right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Funky Fromeyer.
Aye.
Senator Howell. Senator Webb. Representative Herron. Representative Petrie.
Yes.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Co-Chair Fraser Gordon.
Yes.
Chair Girdler.
Yes. That passes very favorably. Sandy, you do a good job.
Thank you, sir, very much.
All right, thank you. Now we got Finance Administration Cabinet, and I'm assuming Kevin, oh, you're here. All right. We're gonna roll these? Or? Yes, like to roll these together if I can get a motion. Motion from Miss Fraser Gordon. Second from Senator Howell. Any objections? No objections. We'll proceed on. Mr. Cardwell.
You got it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Gardler and members of the committee. I'm here today. My name is Kevin Cardwell from the Office of State Budget Director. In accordance with provisions of KRS 45750 through 45800, I'll be presenting 3 projects today. First item is an action item. It's a $100,000 increase to a previously approved project for the purchase of equipment in excess of $200,000. This item of equipment is for the Education and Labor Cabinet, the Office of Unemployment Insurance. It is the Unemployment Insurance Connect mobile device vehicle purchase. With the $100,000 increase, the new project amount would be $600,000, and this would be all from federal funds. As a reminder, this vehicle would allow unemployment insurance team members to regularly travel to designated areas and to assist the underserved communities and with disaster recovery with all direct and related UI activities. This $500,000 project was previously approved by this committee on November the 17th of 2022. And with the authority is pursuant to KRS 45767, and I respectfully request the committee's approval. The second project, you want me to roll on?
Do the second project and then.
Yeah, we'll do the second project, then Representative Petrie has a question.
Yes, sir. All right, second project is an appropriation increase for the Kentucky Community and Technical College System for the construction of an on-site training center located in Hardin County. The increase amount is $3,750,000. As a reminder, this project is located in Glendale, Kentucky. This increase represents a 15% increase to the original project appropriation of $25 million, brings the new project total to $28,750,000. The authority for the increase is pursuant to KRS 45770, paragraph 2. This project was appropriated in Senate Bill 5 during the 2021 special session of the General Assembly. The increase is necessary due to construction bids coming in higher than originally budgeted and will allow the project to proceed. This was a competitive bid process. The new facility is affiliated with the Elizabethtown Community Technical College Park and is going to provide the on-site training opportunities for 5,000 new workers at the Blue Oval SK Battery Park. So,
all right, Representative Petrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As to action item Education and Labor Cabinet, what's taking so long with the project, with the purchase?
I'm going to turn around to a representative from Labor Cabinet.
Introduce yourself and then.
Good morning, committee. My name is Buddy Hoskins, and I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Unemployment Insurance. So this is a part of our equity grant that we received from the federal government. Just with all capital projects, we had to do an RFP, limited vendors in the space. And to be honest with you, through the pandemic period, it's been supply and demand in order to get the products. The product is scheduled to be delivered to us in August of 2024.
I think I called on the wrong person. I apologize.
2020.
Was this regarding the bus?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was not what I presented, though. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You're good.
I was looking at the second project.
You're good.
Totally sorry. Apologize.
You're good.
Does that help you?
Yeah, so yes, it does. Any other reasons?
No, sir. We followed the RFP procurement process, and it's just the time frame.
And so just to help me better understand, this process would have begun how long ago?
We received the award a little under a year ago, and then we followed the process with, we are working with an equity team from the federal level that states have been awarded to do things such as plain language to their products. We asked for this specifically after our third disaster during the pandemic period, which I believe, if you all recall, last summer we used Louisiana's bus to go to Eastern Kentucky. That helped us tremendously. Then it's just going through the procurement process of the RFP.
So from the time of the award till completion, we're looking at about a year and a half, a little better?
It will be a little over 2 years total, and that's the period of performance with the grant.
Very good. Understood. May I proceed with another
Yes.
one?
Yes.
You won't be on this one, I don't think.
Okay.
Back to Mr. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cardwell. Okay, the second item, Kentucky Community and Technical College System, Hardin County. I think we're all familiar with that. But it perks my ears up a little bit, and I know you've got statutory authority. You're looking for an extra $3 million to complete a project. It perks my ears up, though, that we've just found $75 million in the KCTCS system, and we're going to go ahead and put $3 million more into a system that has excess $75 million they just found. Is that correct?
Just found.
I think there was something came out within the last 7 days or so that through whatever accounting purposes they've identified an additional $75 million in asset that they didn't realize that they had.
Okay.
That's going to be going through audit. Wouldn't expect you to be that. I'm just saying it perks my ears up that
Yes,
we're going to continue with this process to find another $3 million to proceed with the project that's going into a system that has just now identified $75 million more than what they thought they had.
Okay. And I apologize. I'm not familiar with that. And I apologize for the confusion a while ago. I had already moved to the second project. So
You're fine.
Good morning.
You may introduce yourself and proceed.
I'm Andy Casper. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Facilities and Support Services for the Kentucky Community College. I am not involved in that accounting thing, but I was briefed on it yesterday as a employee of KCTCS. Sorry. It's my understanding that it's not actually accurate, the press report saying that the money was just found. It's there. It's a what we call a fund balance, which each college has a fund balance, and the system office has a fund balance, which is monies that's used to adjust budgets and things is going. It's apparently normal. $75 million sounds like a lot, but if you look at the overall budget for KCTCS, that is not extraordinarily large. For some reason, it has been brought, up to a much greater thing than actually I think it would turn out to be. And like I said, I'm not involved in that, but I do understand that.
And I appreciate the comment on that. I'm not relying on press, external media. I'm relying on what I've received from the system itself as far as informing us of what they understand the current status to be of the money that was recently, newly identified through their accounting.
Yes, sir. And I'm not privy to that, so yes, that'd be true. As far as the necessary funding for this project, the project is a capital construction project, and the requirement is that if you exceed the bids and you can't value engineer it, then you need to ask for surplus money out of the contingency account.
Right, and understand and your proper process, but since we do have cameras here and we're on record here, I do want to hope that the KCTCS understands that if there's an additional $75 million on fund balance that wasn't previously identified for utilization, that money stays still. If it's not going to be used for things like this, ongoing projects and overruns, for things that this General Assembly has already allocated money and stand fully behind those projects, that KCTCS stands still with any additional funds that they have recently identified.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure that word goes back.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Senator Funky Fromeyer.
On that same question with the $75 million, I'm very ignorant about what the budget is relative to the KCTCS system. What's the annual budget where $75 million seems to be?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a drop in the
Again,
bucket.
I'm not in the accounting area. I'm in the facility, so I'm not fully aware of that. We were just, as an associate vice president, I received a briefing yesterday that told us what was going on, and we were told that it's not, or as a percentage, it's not that large. But I cannot answer your question.
Senator Fromeyer, Jenny knows all about that. And after the meeting, see her, because she's the head honcho of that. Thank you.
Yep, sorry.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right. Representative Petrie, motion.
Second.
Second, Brother Thomas. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Howell. Senator Webb, Representative Herron, Representative Petrie,
Yes.
Representative Thomas,
Aye.
Co-Chair Fraser Gordon,
Yes.
Chair Girdler, sorry.
Yes, aye. All right. I'm assuming that's 5-1.
May I say something?
Huh? Yes.
May I say something? I want to thank y'all for being here. We put you on the spot a little bit, all of you, but we appreciate you actually being here. It's so much easier to do this for a lot of us if you're in person than if you're online. I understand schedules and everything else, but I just wanted to tell you we really appreciate you being here to help walk us through some of this stuff.
Yes, sir.
And if I may say the same, none of my questions are ever ill-intended. It's just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes,
and without you being here, we couldn't get any closer to that. I appreciate
And
it.
if you figure it out, let me know.
Thank you.
I say amen to both statements, and I do appreciate people that, you're put on the spot, and I heard about it from my daughters, which are both employees of KCT at Somerset Community College, and she asked me about $75 million, and not a clue. So I appreciate the information you get, and Jenny's going to answer it for us right here in a few minutes to us. So.
Yes, sir. I've got one more item to report, and it's a reporting item only. Reporting of a pool project in excess of $1 million pursuant to the 2022 regular session House Bill 1. This project is for the Department of Corrections. It's the Eastern Kentucky Correctional Complex repairs and renovations. The amount is $2.2 million, and it's funded from the 2022-24 maintenance pool, which is funded by the general fund. This project is for the Eastern Kentucky Correctional Complex, one of the largest that Department of Corrections facility, and was constructed in 1987, started and finished in 1990. $2.2 million will support fund design consulting services prior to construction of repairs and renovations at the facility. They're looking at repairs and renovations, going to be a complete building envelope replacement, which is going to include new windows, new doors, replacing the existing exterior insulated finish system and a cavity wall system, including new exterior cladding, airspace, moisture retarder, flashing, and insulation and associated work. Thank you.
Have any questions on that? Representative Petrie.
Thank you very much. Did I understand you to say that 2.2 is for design only?
Yes, sir.
And when would the anticipated work begin?
I'm sorry, I don't have that. I don't know what the time frame is for the design completion. It's something I could ask and get back. Michael McKinney is online. He may be able to answer that as well.
If you'll introduce yourself.
You're on mute.
We can see you. Try it one more time.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you all. I'm Michael McKinney. I'm the Director of Administrative Services for the Kentucky Department of Corrections. This project, is for the design and consulting. It's my understanding that we're working with the Department of Engineering and construction on this project, and there is a consultant in place. So that process is starting. this additional money will help fund that completion of that design and planning process. So I think we've already kind of started on it with the funding that we have, but the additional funding will help us complete that design and planning.
Is there an anticipated timeline for completion of design and planning?
We would like to have it finished, I think, before the end of this biennium, and then you will see a project for the. Actually, I'll take that back. We'd like to have the design and planning done before we present our biennial budget, which will have the project for the full completion of that project.
That's what I was interested in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, that, don't have to do anything with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Gardler and members of the committee.
Thank you. We're going to have Scott Aubrey to present agenda item number 6. Scott? He's remote. Scott, you out there somewhere?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Sorry about that.
You may proceed. Oh, wait, hold on a second, Scott. We'd like to roll these together if I can get a motion. Got a motion, Representative Thomas, second, Senator Howell. Any objections? No, you may proceed, Scott.
Yes, sir. The first item I have is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services here in Franklin County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $7.55 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $181,909.72, and it's good through June 30th of 2028. The second item, again, is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Franklin County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $7.55 per square foot at an annual cost of $116,760.76. It's good through June 30th of 2024. The third item is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Knight County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $9.97 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $100,118.76, and it's good through June 30th of 2031. The fourth item is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Letcher County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $9.26 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $178,579.12, and it's good through June 30th of 2024. The fifth item is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Rowan County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $14.21 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $137,268.60, and it's good through June 30th of 2031. The sixth item is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Davies County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $11.39 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $530,979.02, and it's good through June 30th of 2031. The seventh item is a lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Madison County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $12.89 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $206,098.20, and is good through June 30th of 2031. The eighth item is another lease renewal for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in Perry County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $16.79 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $409,340.20, and is good through June 30th of 2031. The ninth item is a lease renewal for the Unified Prosecutorial System in Fayette County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $9.24 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $113,045.28, and is good through June 30th of 2024. The 10th item is a lease renewal for the Department of Public Advocacy in Fayette County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $14.50 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $261,130.52, and it's good through June 30th of 2024. The 11th item is a lease renewal for the Department of Corrections in Jefferson County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $12.75 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $137,241, and is good through June 30th of 2024. The 12th item is a lease renewal for the Department of Corrections of Fayette County. This lease is being renewed under the same terms and conditions for $16.50 per square foot at an annual rent cost of $250,024.52 and is good through June 30th of 2031. Should I go on with the last item?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the last item I have is a new lease for the transportation cabinet in Campbell County. Space was identified in a building where they are temporarily housed, and previously awarded lease was obtained for the Department of Corrections. The lessor originally consented to lease 4,317 square feet of space, with the cabinet paying all renovation costs in the amount of $130,000. After subsequent discussions with the owner and the cabinet, an agreement was made to lease 5,195 square feet of space at a rate of $20.95 per square foot, excluding utilities and janitorial services. The redesign of the lease space reduced the amount of the fit-up costs, which the lessor subsequently consented to absorb. Therefore, the total annual cost for this lease is $108,835.24 and expires on June 30th of 2026.
All right, thank you. We got a question from Senator Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Aubrey, just a question. We talk about these lease renewals a lot. Is there ever a process where we go out and look for alternate space for some of these leases? Some of these leases are at a pretty aggressive rate for the counties that they're in, I think. Can you walk me through the process of whether we go and ever go and look for additional space?
Generally, we only do that. The lessor has three options he can choose. He can renew it in the same terms and conditions, or he can ask for a rental rate increase, which would cause us to put it out of public solicitation or bid the project, or we can enter into with local governments in that. But we generally don't go out looking for new space unless they are requesting it. For instance, if some of them have maintenance issues that keep reoccurring, then we would put out a bid or look for other space through local governments and that kind of thing.
So there's never a situation where we go and look for cheaper office space in some of these areas?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Senator Funky Fromeyer.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Aubrey. I was a little curious, similar questions to Mr. Howell, to Senator Howell, but understanding kind of the occupancy and the use of space. We've had tremendous discussion this session on many of our employees working remotely. And I've seen that in my own small business that there's significant kind of reallocation of workplace. So how would we determine the actual use, and do we interact with the user of that space to identify, could we use a third of the space? Could we then find something more reasonable to our taxpayers?
Yes, well, we certainly work with other agencies in state government, and as far as making sure that they do have a suitable workplace that they can come to and meet their job duties.
Is that any other questions? If not, can I get a motion we approve? Senator Thomas. Can I get a second? Second, Senator Howell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Funky Fromeyer.
No.
Senator Howell. Senator Webb, Representative Herron, Representative Petrie.
Yes.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Co-Chair Fraser Gordon.
Yes.
Chair Girdler.
Yes. All right, motion's approved. And I'm assuming we're through there, Brother Aubrey, Scott Aubrey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
All right, thank you. Any comments, questions from anybody? Yes.
How do we inspire a fiduciary review of these facilities and of these requests for dollars? because I had to vote no on the last one, and I have to vote no on this one because as a financial advisor, I do not see any sort of fiduciary process, and I'm ignorant because I'm new to this. So how do we go about?
I'm gonna let my assistant answer all those, and she's sitting right here, and if she can't answer it, then
I almost feel a panic attack coming on. I think of my constituents in Northern Kentucky and think about the incredible burden that I hear from so many of our families and so many people in the community. Constantly, no matter where I turn, I'm hearing of the financial burden.
Yes, I understand that. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Aubrey, but I think as far as lease space renewals, another thing that the state does need to consider is that when we lease space throughout the state, we have to make sure that we are actually in the area that is most easily accessible from the constituents that need those services. And so they do try to find locations that are within the city limits for those types of things. And also there's a considerable cost with going out to bid for a new space and then having to move, if you're moving a probation and parole office and there's 20 workers in there, or cabinet for health and family services, and any kind of services there's usually quite a few caseworkers that are involved, and moving the spaces is actually a big cost. And especially if they're in cubicles, a lot of the cubicles that we purchased were a long time ago, and they can't be dismantled. You would have to purchase new furniture again. So there is considerable cost in those leases. But again, I didn't want to speak for Mr. Aubrey, but those are some of the things that we come across in budget world. But I would say in the biennial budget process, we do have a list of all of the lease spaces. We look in great detail at the agency requests, what they're asking for, and a lot of the projects that they've asked for are in the capital planning process that will be coming up starting in April, and then we'll follow that through the budget, and then also it will come into capital projects when they're reporting on it. So we do look at it a lot, and we can get you any information that you do want.
yes.
And just kind of that boots on the ground where we expect that each one of these locations has kind of an operations manager, that there's some sort of to acknowledge we're now at a use, because technology continues to that we do have some fiduciary process in place to evaluate the use and the occupancy along with the reasonable cost of square footage, which these aren't exorbitantly out of my understanding, but the use of the occupancy is dramatically.
Yes, and but a lot of the space that we have out in the state is space that people actually come into the office. Constituents will come into the office to get those services. But I do know that leased properties tries to combine offices if they can, if that's permissible. So they may have social workers from DJJ and CHFS working in the same facility to cut down on cost space, things like that. So they are looking at that. The agencies themselves are looking at it because they would prefer to spend their money, someplace other than renting property. So, yeah, because there are limited funds. So, yeah, exactly.
I think Representative Petrie can help us a little bit too.
I agree with everything that's been said, and the concerns are valid. It's stuff that I ask also, and we've worked through a budget process. There is an involved process that goes through. Can there always be better oversight and more details? Yes, but my wife is a critical care nurse, and she can tell you that you can chart yourself out of patient care. So we have to watch out what our administrative costs are, not only transactionally of moving inconveniences to the constituents and their service. They do try to combine multi-purpose in a lease space as opposed to just siloing it. If you wanted to have better oversight, better oversight, I think it would be a statutory mechanism that would have to be created and put in place different from what we have now. And I would simply say that would be a great project, not for me, because it will be a massive undertaking.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, anything? All right, we're gonna, if I can get a motion to adjourn, But before I adjourn, I will tell you that on April 25th at 11 a.m., just at the request of Representative Thomas, because he said his wife was wanting to see him, and can't understand that. But anyway, we will meet at 11 a.m. on 425, and then right now, tentatively, we're going to meet on my birthday, May 23rd, my birthday. I want to make that sure everybody knows that. Cards and letters not preferred, gifts are preferred. Cash. Well, no, you can't take cash. Dad, burn it, I repeat everything I say and get in trouble, you know. Anyway, 11 a.m. Yeah, Thomas says he can get here and home in one day. So, thank y'all, and we're adjourned. I repeated him one time and got thrown in jail.